These physical volumes represent a fraction of the historical record of China, a continuous documentation stretching from mythological antiquity to the fall of the Qing dynasty in 1912. Collectively, this corpus is known as the Zhengxi, or the official dynastic histories. It consists of 25 and eventually 26 massive individual books. While they appear to be standard books, the Zhengxi contain over 3,000 zhuan, or scrolls, of data. This scale makes them too dense to function as simple linear narratives. Instead, the text operates as a highly rigid proprietary relational database, engineered to map statecraft across 2 millennia. To navigate the Chinese historical record, one must first understand the specific information architecture built to contain it. The term Zhengxi translates literally to correct or orthodox histories. Under the imperial system, the current dynasty's legitimacy rested on its ability to produce the formal record of the preceding one. This was the definitive proof of the mandate of heaven. This required a strict, uncompromising framework. A new ruling house could not simply invent its own narrative. It had to organize its predecessor's raw data into an exact, pre-approved structural template. This template solved a massive logistical problem, organizing 2,000 years of shifting borders, diverse rulers, and chaotic events into a single, standardized format. A standard linear timeline lacks the capacity to handle this level of complex state data, necessitating the development of a more sophisticated organizational technology. The solution arrived around 93 BCE, designed by a court astrologer named Sima Qian in his foundational text, the Shiji, or Records of the Grand Scribe. Ancient histories typically relied on the Bianyenti, or the year-by-year linear chronicle. This is a simple horizontal timeline where events are plotted as they occur. Sima Qian moved away from this approach. He recognized that a dynasty is not merely a sequence of dates, but a complex network of family genealogies, official hierarchies, and economic systems. He invented the Jizhuanti, or the biographic thematic style. This system decouples historical information from a strict chronology, allowing a user to search the record by specific person, technical topic, or geographical region. Sima Qian's Jizhuanti became the foundational source code for Chinese history. For the next 2,000 years, every subsequent dynasty adopted this exact architecture. This blueprint divided all historical data into 5 distinct chapter types, functioning like separate tables in a database. The first category is the Benji, or annals. These track the chronological actions and edicts of the emperors. Second are the Bio, or tables. These are matrices used for quick cross-referencing between overlapping reigns. Third are the Shu, or Ji, the treatises. These act as technical manuals for the empire's infrastructure. Fourth, the Shijia, or hereditary houses, which document regional rulers and eminent figures. Finally, the Liezhuan, or biographies. This is the largest section, containing profiles of officials, scholars, and foreign nations. When an event like a massive flood occurred, the system fractured the data. The date is recorded in the Benji. The economic cost and river repairs are filed in the Ji. The fate of the official in charge is documented in the Liezhuan. This 5-part architecture forces the historian to document the same era from 5 different angles, creating a ledger that must remain internally consistent across thousands of pages. The Ji, or treatises, are especially valuable to modern analysts as they contain the empire's hard operational data. These chapters track agronomical matters, ritual music, river conservancy, penal law, and administrative geography. Over the centuries, new dynasties kept Sima Qian's core 5-part structure. They simply added new subcategories to the treatises to reflect the growing complexity of imperial administration. The Qing Shi Gao, or the Draft History of the Qing, was compiled in 1927, long after the fall of imperial China. Even in the early 20th century, historians used Sima Qian's framework to categorize modern industrial concepts, appending new treatises for communications, tracking railways and telegraphs, and for diplomatic relations. A data structure capable of organizing both Bronze Age chariot rituals and 20th century railway networks demonstrates a high level of systemic design. The database was also a political tool. The specific placement of a state within the 5-part structure determined its historical legitimacy. During periods of division, rival factions were often denied orthodox status. They were barred from receiving their own books or inclusion in the Benji imperial annals. Instead, their histories were compressed into the Shija, or hereditary houses, effectively making them subchapters within the records of a legitimate dynasty. However, political realities sometimes forced a change. The Non-Han Khitan Liao and Jurchen Jin dynasties were eventually granted full, standalone official books, treating them as administrative equals to the Song dynasty. The Zhangxi acted as a structural gatekeeper. Formatting was a manifestation of power, and being relegated to a subchapter meant an empire was officially erased as a sovereign state. The system faced a significant challenge when earlier medieval histories, such as the Sanguoji, were published without the standard treatises or tables. Leaving these specific data fields empty compromised the integrity of the 2,000-year continuous record. During the 18th and 19th centuries, Qing dynasty scholars launched massive data recovery projects to fill these gaps. These scholars reconstructed the missing tables and treatises for ancient dynasties, drafting them to align with the official standards of the era they documented. These efforts were eventually published in 1936 as the Arshi Wishi Bubian, or the supplements to the 25 histories. These supplements functioned as systemic maintenance, ensuring the 2,000-year database remained structurally complete and backwards compatible for future dynasties. The completed corpus of the 26 official histories stands as a standardized monolith. This uncompromising structure allowed Chinese historical memory to persist through 2 millennia. By shifting from a linear timeline to a biographic thematic network, Sima Qian created a scalable interface for statecraft that could outlast the empire that commissioned it. The Zhangxi remains the world's longest continuous historical record and one of humanity's most enduring feats of data engineering.